All right, so this chapter right here is going to be 5.4. This is going to be angle bisector theorem, and it's going to be versus medians. So we're going to talk about angle bisectors, segment bisectors, and medians today. And there's going to be three different ways of solving for these problems. So when we talk about a segment bisector, it is going to say something like AC bisects BD. So let me go ahead and draw that triangle. So if I have A, B, C, D, AC right here is going to bisect BD, okay? Well, when we have a segment bisector, it splits the segment in half. So we're going to see values right here, like 12, 14, 7, and x, and we're going to need to solve for x. Whenever it is a segment bisector, the bottom two values are just going to be congruent. So if BC is 7, CD is also going to be 7. So segment bisector, congruent values. Just think of that. So anytime it's a segment bisector, it's just going to be the same value. So in this case, x equals 7. Now we're going to see something very similar with medians. So we talked about medians with our centroids. With medians, we're going to see something like AC is a median of BD. So again, I have the same triangle, A, B, C, and D. And AC is the median, which means it's right in the middle, all right, and it splits BD in half. So again, you're going to have values something like this, all right, and this time this is 6, and we need to find BC, okay? Again, if CD is 6, x is also going to be 6. So these are going to be equals. They're going to be congruent to each other. So medians have congruent values, okay? Those two are going to be very simple. If you just have segment bisector or if you have medians, all right, the two bottom values are going to be the same. Now, here's where it becomes a little different if we have angle bisectors. So there's my angle sign right there. I'm going to erase that. Angle bisectors. Now, when we do these angle bisectors, it will say something like angle ABC, or sorry, it would be something like CBD bisects angle ABC. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a triangle right here. And this is BD bisects angle ABC. So when we have an angle bisector, it splits this angle in half, okay? Well, that's great, but when we solve these questions, it is going to have values on the outside. So again, let's say we have to find AD. So this is going to be x, and let's say that this is 8. Now, with our other problems, these would be congruent, AD and DC. But when it's an angle bisector, these are not congruent, okay? So they are not. But when we solve this, I want you to think of the butterfly method. And that is the way I want to teach you guys this problem. So, butterfly method, or we're just going to cross multiply. So what's going to happen is I'm going to circle x and 18 just like this. I'm going to do the same thing with 16 and 8 right here. So you see how it kind of makes like a butterfly and then with those values. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do 18 times x equals 16 times 8. So when we have 18 times x, that just becomes 18x. equals, then you have 16 times 8. Put that in your calculator and you get 128. Okay? After that, you just solve for x. So what we have to do is we need to divide by 18 on both sides. When we divide by 18, we get x equals 7.1. Because on these problems, it's going to say to round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so remember, when we have angle bisectors, we are going to cross multiply. All right, so let's look at some examples that you guys will end up seeing. So let's go ahead and look at number 1 right here. All right, this one, segment BD bisects angle ABC. First thing you gotta pay attention to, what kind of bisector is this? It says bisects angle ABC. So whenever we have an angle bisector, this is when we do our butterfly method. So I'm going to cross and create that little butterfly. So I have 13 and 12 together and 15 and x together. So that tells me to do 15 times x equals 13 times 12. So 15 times x is just going to be 15x equals 13 times 12. That's going to be 156. Then after that, we just need to get x by itself. So divide by 15, and x equals 10.4. Perfect. Okay, so it was an angle bisector. We're going to do that cross multiplication. Let's go to number 4. Segment BD bisects angle ABC. Okay, again, it is an angle bisector, so it's bisecting angle ABC. So again, when we have an angle bisector, we are going to cross multiply and create that little butterfly. So I have 18 times 9 equals 10 times x. 18 times 9 is going to be 162 equals 10x. Divide by 10. And when we divide by 10, you want to remember to round to the nearest tenth. Well, this is going to be an exact answer. So 16.2. So that is what x equals in this problem. 16.2. Okay. Now I'm going to move over and scroll down, and let's look at this next one. I have segment BD as a median. Okay, what do we talk about when we have a median? Oops. When we have a median, all right, that segment goes right down the middle. So with CD being 5, okay, and D being right in the middle, it's going to split AC in half. So if CD is 5, x also equals 5. Okay, perfect. And that's what we do for medians. Now let's look at number 5. Right here it says segment BD bisects segment AC. All right, this time it is a segment bisector. So it's not a median and it's not an angle bisector. But again, we have a segment bisector, so it splits AC in half. If AD is 4, x also has to be 4. So whenever it's a segment bisector, they are congruent. Finally, let's look at just one last problem. Okay, again, we have a median right here. Just think of median as the middle. If segment BD is a median, that means D is going to be that midpoint right in half. So if AD is 15, CD is also 15. So x is going to equal 15. Now, when you work on this homework, just remember you can click show examples, or you can also click those help videos. But just remember, if it's a median or a segment bisector, the two values are going to be congruent. If it is an angle bisector, that's when you need to do that butterfly method and cross multiply.